Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Paul with Spheric Reptiles, and I thank you for tuning in today. Hopefully I got something that can help you. It's a question that you should really be asking if you keep reptiles, because everybody starts off with just one reptile, right? I mean, you don't start off with 10 or 20. So in starting off with one reptile, I'm going to kind of compare the two. And so I got a picture of how when we first started, we had reptiles before, but then I went through a hiatus, and then we got another. We got a bearded dragon named Fuck You Fred, and we got a lesser bongo named Jess, So that's where we started. And so now we have, I think at last count, 33 reptiles, and we're breeding ball pythons. We're not breeding our bearded dragon this year. We want to get a grasp on breeding one species of animal first before we move on. So with 32 ball pythons, I think that's a good enough number to see if we can do this or not. There are a lot of people that are giving us help and acting as mentors. Danny Cadena with Chain Reaction Exotics is our largest mentor, but then there's others, who I bought snakes from in the past. But anyway, when you start off with one ball python and one bearded dragon, what's your cost? So you got an enclosure. Probably starting off with like a 30 or 40 gallon with your bearded dragon, and probably like a 10 or 20 gallon with your ball python if you don't go to a tub. So we chose to go with a 10 gallon aquarium because I was like, hey, this will be good for her at this size until we can see what we can do. And of course you can see the setup that we had. It's on a storage rack that we got from, I think Walmart or somewhere like that. And then we hooked up to all the heat tape and the thermostats and things like that. But the cost. So we were talking about, what do you say, about 100 crickets a week?
Yes.
About 100 crickets a week for the bearded dragon, which at the time, that was the thing that was most, I didn't know about the other places. So I had to learn more about where to get the feeders for the animals instead of how to care for them. And for the ball python, we just went down to Petco, and we would have to sign off every week and get a small rat or a mouse. But then, so even with 3, I think that you can do it, so you can do it very easily with 3 snakes. And, if you get up to one bearded dragon, your cost per month is still going to be about $20 to $25 total. So that's it. So now that we have so many, one of the biggest things that you have to be able to do is, like, out of everything, it's about where can I get my food source. So when you go from 3 to 30, then it's a big deal, like getting that food source. So 2 of the things that we do before we get into anything else is we use RodentPro and we've used LayneLabs. Now, they're both equally good. I mean, they're both good. I think RodentPro is from Evansville, Indiana, and LayneLabs is from Southern California. So either way, you pay for shipping unless they're running a promo, in which if they're running a promo, you just jump on it, and that's what you do. You try to get the biggest bang for the least amount of bucks. So in that, remember I did a video back to basically discuss that you're going to need 3 sizes of rodents. You're going to need a rat pup, and you're going to need a weaned rat. So a weaned rat's going to be about, I would say, try to get anywhere from 78 to 90 grams. Your rat pup would be, I guess, 20 to 30 grams if you can get that. So that way you can feed your animals, whether they're hatchlings or subadults. And then when they go into adulthood, it's a totally different thing. Then it just depends on what you're trying to do. 130 grams would be the max ceiling. So anything from 95 to 130 grams for that small rat, if they're calling it that, or a medium rat, if they're calling it that. I just look at the grams. So that's what we do. But before anything, I want to talk about what it takes to care for 30 ball pythons, So, I mean, shit, it's a lot. I mean, it's really a lot. But if you can come over here and I can just show you this. So for each one of these hatchling racks, so right here we got the pastel red Gene Hypo or Michael Jackson. And then if I put him up, then we got a male Inchy Blade Clown, which is David Bowie. We got a clown pied male called Jetty. It's named after my cousin's son. He's going to be hopefully a really fast kid. Then we got Prince, the pastel yellow-bellied desert ghost. That's also, I said pastel, right? Yeah. Okay. So that's him. And then we got Corella, who is in shed. And she is a double head DG, double head for desert ghost and hypo. So, but this is just a hatchling rat, guys. So imagine waking up every day and before you go to bed every day, after work every day, because both Lynn and I do have full-time jobs. And you have to come in and just check it. So you have to get up at least an hour earlier than you normally would just to make sure that they haven't peed or pooped in here, because even though these aren't bioactive enclosures, I really like the tubs for snakes when you have a lot of them, which is a difference, because I can keep this sterile. So I got my hand sanitizer right here. I got some veterinary cleaner in here. And then I also have some hydrogen peroxide right here, guys. So we got a lot of different cleaning supplies, as well as I have my latex gloves from when I'm handling a lot of snakes. That way, when I'm washing them, I don't really wash the snakes. I mean, what the hell am I talking about? So when I'm going from snake to snake, I can sanitize my hands with the gloves, and that way I can make sure that I'm not passing on any diseases. And that's one of the biggest things I want you guys to know. So I heard something the other day, and it made a lot of sense. Well, actually, it was like a couple of months ago. But treat every animal as if they have a disease. Treat every animal as if they're sick. So I look at these as not only as our pets, but also our patients. So if I go into any one of these cages and then go to another one, before I do, I must sanitize my hands or wash my hands. I have this, what I call my sterile tub that I put them in when I'm cleaning them. And after I put each one of the snakes in here and I put it back, I make sure that I sanitize this and I put the snake back, then I sanitize this, and then I sanitize my hands before moving on. So, it's kind of like, let me show you guys this pastel Huffman real quick. So I can just pull her out. I'll sit her up here. So this is our breeder pastel Huffman that we're pairing up. And I'm not going to go in her cage, but you can actually see how her setup is right there, guys. I got the coconut husk, the water dish, and the hide. So for this setup for us, this works better. I know everybody doesn't like this, but this is my opinion. I just want to keep everything safe and free of disease and clean, so I think if I can control that in my environments, then my snakes can have a better life. And if nothing else, they won't get sick. And so that's the main thing. Then it's, I'm just thinking about everything that we're doing. So up here, we got our coconut husk. I kind of break it down. I don't put a lot of water in it so that it still has some moisture in there. But I know that I'll go through this in like maybe 3 weeks, because every time they shed or poop, I just throw everything away, guys. Let's see what else we got. We got a pastel orange dream, just to show you guys more of what I'm talking about. And he's over here. And this is OJ. He's our pastel orange dream. He just ate yesterday, but you see how clean and sterile his cage is. If you're having an issue with the bugs in there, bugs are not coming from the coconut husk. They're not wood bugs or wood mites or anything like that. It's coming from the feces. If you leave the poop in there, which is why you got to come and check, before you go to work, when you get home from work, and then right before you go to bed, you got to check and make sure that there's no feces or urine in the cages, because if it is, that came from a live animal. So if you've seen any type of protein decay, any meat or animal protein, you'll know that it produces bugs. So those bugs come from the poop. So that's one of the main things I'm going to stress to you guys. And since I did that, I'm going to go ahead and sanitize my hands. Smells so good too, man. I mean, it smells really good. Thanks, Lynn. But so going on to another snake, one that is set to eat today. I'll go ahead and take the yellow belly piebald out, or Doja Cat, because I really want you guys to know that when we go from feeding one animal or 2 animals a week, and I'll shake that out. And so you see, this is Doja Cat right here. But just to finish my sentence, so what we do is we typically order about $200 worth, or we order, I'm going to say like 100 rats at a time, right? So it might be a little bit more than 200. 100 wean rats, or what was it? Like 50-50, right? So 50 wean rats, 50 small rats at a time. And then whenever we order rat pups, we just order 100 at a time because those come in 25 per bag. But you see how I have her cage crowded? And this is to add enrichment for her so that it's not the same thing. And at nighttime, I just come and observe them. And what I see is that they're going through these. And it kind of makes them more interactive. Another thing that we do is I take her out. I really like Doja Cat. And I'll sit this down. Hold on 1 second, baby. All right, so now let's go to the snake tree. And so one of the things that I've always talked about is the use of something that provides enrichment when your animal lives in a tub. So I don't want my animals to just think that they live in a cave. So what I do is when we're cleaning, I put our snakes up here and make sure that they're on, because ball pythons really aren't tree dwelling, but I put them up there. And as you can see, this is a way for them to get some exercise. So they have to use different muscles to hang on to this. And what you'll notice is that when they get a little bit more comfortable, they'll start moving up and down on the snake tree. The snake tree, I mean, if you got to make some kind of exercise jungle gym for your snakes, so that when you have so many of them, because you're not holding them so much, that they get some enrichment in their lives. That's really important, guys, that you provide enrichment, because anything that exercises gets to work their muscles a little bit more, so it increases their metabolism, helps the food digest a little bit better. I mean, all of that stuff. But I'm not going to leave her up here for now. But this is Doja Cat, our yellow belly piebald. And you notice yellow belly, if you look here, it's very crisp on the sides. And then on the top, you can see here it's a really good definition and difference. So that yellowing, this is different from an orange dream where you'd have orange patterns in the dorsal as well. But this is her. She's about 1,000 grams now. And so right now, you know, she's not breeding anytime soon. Maybe around, I guess, May of next year she'll be ready, hopefully. But if not, you know, it'll be this time next year around October, November. So I'll put her back right in here. And I'll sit her high back on top of her. I know y'all laughing at my flip-flops. Don't be laughing at my Walmart flip-flops, man. I'm telling you, I'm cheap about a lot of things, right, baby?
Yep.
Except for snake shit.
Yes.
In her and for Lynn. So, hey guys, as we move forward, I guess I'll show one more snake that is set to eat today. Oh yeah, I'll show the Phantom Cinnamon because she just shed this morning. So let me show them this real quick. So if we look at this right here, I got a calendar and I mark down when they shed, what they eat, all that stuff when I'm doing my pairings. So this is another thing you need. I would say get 2 calendars. I got this other one. It's a John Deere calendar, but it doesn't matter what kind of, this is a vacation in a John Deere. So you need something like this so that you can track everything that you're doing with your animals. Now, if we come back over here, I can show you guys something else that you got to do when you have a lot of snakes. So this is Pink, named after the rock star. And so what I'm going to show you guys what you should do is you should make sure that you get a scale. And this is all in just what you should do. Like when you go from 3 to 30, the reason I say you should weigh your snakes out is because you got so many of them that you can't really stay on top of 30 kids, 32, 33 kids like you think you can. If you got any kind of life outside where you work and you got family, it's really hard. So I just streamlined everything. So I make sure that I change the water on a certain day, feed on a certain day, look for poop every day, like a spot check. So all of my animals get looked at every day. But the biggest thing is weighing them out once a month. And of course I've did a video on this before. If I can get this to turn on. All right, now that that's turned on, so I'll go ahead and put this on to show you guys something that you can do. So we chose to get this baby scale, and you can see that she's 980 grams. The reason why we got this baby scale is because it's bigger. It doesn't, we're not trying to confine our snakes into a small space and stress them out. But when we put them on here, it'll weigh out from any size. So she's 980 grams. And so the biggest thing about that is when you're weighing your snakes, you can tell if they're still healthy or not. So if they're gaining weight, that's a good thing. If they're not gaining weight, then that's something to note and chart up on your calendar. And let me put her back. And so this is the routine that I normally do. And so now, and then I'll sanitize this over here. I'm just trying to show you guys everything we do. Now, of course, all of these animals have been quarantined. So it's really just something that I like to do just to be safe. Like I went from the yellow belly pie to the phantom cinnamon without sanitizing my hands, but just to get in the practice of doing it. You know what I'm saying? So not to say that you should do it with every reptile, but definitely every new reptile should be quarantined. And so we do have a new addition, Orange Dream, Yellow Belly, Inchy, Doublehead, Desert Ghost, Cryptic. And she's in a totally different room getting quarantined. And I don't know how long we're going to leave it there. We might leave it there a month just to make sure she's eating, that there's no mites, that there's no signs of disease, checking the temperatures in there, keeping it a little bit warm. So if it is something, they can kill it, but just keeping an eye on it. So that's what we got. So now we're going to transfer over from these type of cages to a bioactive cage. All right, so this is Fuck You Fred's cage. And we've done this before, but what I'll do is, he's not even out. So I think he's back in the back somewhere, who knows?
Yes.
So the way that we set this up is the way that everybody wants to have their cages, right? So Fred is technically our baby, so we spoil him a lot. So what we've done is we've put springtails in here. We've given them places where they can hide and they can eat. There's, different ghost woods. We got live plants in there. And so this is still a kind of moist substrate, and you can do that with a bearded dragon as long as you have this top area that's 100% open. We have a UVB light in here, as well as a ceramic heat emitter, and everything set up on a thermostat. And Fred's way in the back there. So one of the things that we really wanted to do with him is make sure that we had the hide here for him to hide in, a hide here for him to hide in. He goes through this little tunnel every now and then, but below this, that's where Fred goes to where he just wants to get away. So whether he's brumating, which he could be brumating anytime soon, I don't know if he is or not because he's already been doing the head bob thing. So, but hey guys, this is the main difference is as you scale up in your reptile care, unless you got a lot of something, you can give them really good care like we gave for Fred. So with this, we put the cleanup crews in there. So we got some what I call roly-polies in there, or peel bugs. We got some springtails. We got some dubia roaches in here. And there's a couple of beetles. So, and the good thing about some of these bugs, like the dubias, they come out in their cleanup crews too, but they come out, the larger ones come out at night when Fred's asleep. So a lot of them live at night and they're hiding in the day. So unless he gets them right when we put in, then, they're pretty much safe. But again, guys, when we're thinking about going from 3 to 30, because that's what the video is about, one of the main things I want y'all to do is make sure that you can care for your animals. So set a budget of what you think you'll spend. If you want to feed frozen thawed, I would recommend going to, where do we go? Got Junk or somewhere like that. Go and look on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace for a used 5 cubic foot deep freezer. And I bet you can get one for about $100 or less. And with that, then you put all of your frozen thawed rodents in there. And that's how you do it, guys. I mean, if you do it that way, it's really affordable. If you try to do it all live, then, that's where the cost comes up. Because, hey, that's what we're talking about. But, hey, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on how to go from 3 to 30. So we got keep everything sterile. Make sure that you got a feeder source. Make sure that you can provide enrichment for your animals, track everything, weigh everything so you can look at it. If you can, if you don't have 30 and you got 3, try to invest in something that's a little bit more conducive for your animal's health and well-being so that they can live a great life. And if nothing else, guys, thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe, and enjoy your time with your family and enjoy your time with your reptiles.